A very good morning to you. Thank you very much for watching KBC Channel 1. It is time for BizCheck. My name is Betty Kiptum and Lensa Odingo is my colleague on the sign language interpretation. Now, over the next 1 hour, we want to talk about matters e-commerce. What does it take to set up an e-commerce in this very cutthroat market? And how is the uptake looking like? To have this conversation is Abdisalan Ahmed Mohammed, who is the Chief Executive Officer of cinlab, which he says means grapes. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Pleasure.
Karibu sana. So, the idea of cinlab, how did you decide to get into this very cutthroat market of e-commerce?
It's a pleasure, first of all, to come and meet you this morning.
Karibu sana.
And it's actually an honor for me to come and meet KBC with this team. Basically, it's been a long journey for us to start where we are from. Because of the demand of the market, which is there right now, it took me a lot of time to think about it regarding how can we kind of digitalize the market as it is right now. And luckily, as it is right now, we're going to the digital formation as a country at the same time as a marketplace. So it's been a bit of a journey regarding to where we are right now. But as it is right now, we're very grateful for the community that actually give us a bit of support of where we are right now. As it is to start up, it's been a challenge regarding the customers, the vendors, the marketing, and then actually the financing bit of it as well. So as it is right now, we're just at the beginning of it.
You're just at the beginning?
Yes, we've just been there right now, 2 years now, 2.5 years now. This is our third year coming up. Yeah, in digital marketing, yes.
Right, and what are the lessons that you've learned so far within the 2 years that you've been in existence?
The lessons are quite a lot of them actually. Just to mention some of them is for the perception of people out there thinking of what is digital marketing. For some of them who do understand, it's very useful. For them who don't understand, mostly, you have to go and talk to them individually, one by one. And for a person like me right now, it took about 6 months to go into shops or to some other people, to even make them understand that the world is changing to kind of a mobile business, and at least they should embrace it as it is, because it's an advantage for all of us. It's an advantage for the customer who's buying it, because of this, of the delivery and the comfortability of their services, and the person who is selling it, because there's a lot of people out there who are used to the old way of business by kind of having their product with them so that they can sell it to have a shop with it. So it's like, because now the world is changed to digital world, the convenience bit of it, they cannot comprehend. We're saying that, fine, how will I be able to sell my product without you now taking out my product off me? So it's been a challenge. So it's like, I've been on the street for nearly 6 to 8 months, just to go to know of tapping them, telling them, listen, this thing is working, and it's been there in this world. And it's only that right now we are embracing Kenya. And there are some competitors out there being known to it. So I thought, it gave me a challenge that I should make my community, especially, who are mostly business-oriented people, to get them actually telling them at least, why don't we move to the digital world? So it's been that way so far. And
are they receiving this positively? Is the uptake growing now?
It is. I'm afraid, everything that, we are human beings.
Yes.
And mostly we don't kind of welcome the unknowns. But by doing so now, you need to be patient with them to understand it and for them to see it. Luckily now, as time grows on, they came to see that this thing is a reality and that at least it's happening. So at least they should embrace it as it is. But we're getting there. We're getting there, at least, because at the end of the day, we want to see cinlab to be in every house in Kenya and in Eastern Central Africa, God willingly. Well, by doing so now, you need to be patient with customers and be patient with the people. At the end of the day, the people are who you are. So I'm afraid we need to give them time, for some reason, beyond our control. But again, as it is, they're embracing it as it is.
Okay. Yeah. There's a time I was in a shop and I asked the owner if they are online. Yeah. And they said they don't want to go online because competitors will steal their designs and all that. So how do you inform these people that being online is actually an advantage as opposed to a disadvantage to their business?
These are the things it's among the challenges that you get to see. Yeah. In right hand, when you go and see them, talk to them, tell them, listen, you have this product which is unique to you. And I'm afraid nobody can take it off you unless you allow it to go. By doing so now, digital marketing is only exposing to different people who don't know who you are and where you are. And maybe they're looking for that item that you don't know that people are looking for. And you're expecting them to come and travel from all the way from somewhere where they are to come and see your shop. And I'm afraid they cannot do that. You have to learn to expose yourself. By doing so now, it's advantage for you and for the business as it is. So I'm afraid it's a challenge. It's a challenge that we need to be going back to them and tell them, listen, this is good for you, make use of it. So, and in anything that we do as humanity, sometimes we're kind of afraid of unknowns. So because some of them don't know what it is, we have to give them a chance for them to see. So I'm afraid we have to let them take their own time for them to embrace it, and by the time they come on board, they should be confident enough to do that.
Right.
So
The COVID-19 pandemic saw the growth of e-commerce, you know, across the world, because we could not go out there and shop, you know.
Yes.
That meant that the entry and maybe growth of especially multinationals in the local market really grew rapidly. How are you going to compete with the big boys in the market, so to say?
Actually very happy to take the challenge. Why? I'm a Kenyan born, proud to be Kenyan, and I want to do the business as Kenyans does. Why? I'm not an international to come over here, spend a lot of money all of a sudden, do whatever it takes and then go out. No, I want to stay here and embrace as it is, empower the youth as much as I can, because there will be employment issues. And there's a lot of actually things that which kind of, there's a lot of machinani people who are looking for this, embracing technology. I'm afraid some of them might not have that touch to what it is. But because of being a local person, I am looking forward to that challenge to fight my ground in a way that at least we can have this name everywhere in the corner of this country, so that at least we don't have to think of the international that they can do better than us. I don't mind for them to do very well for what they're doing, but again, I have the space as well as a Kenyan to show that at least I can fight my own ground at the same time do business for the community. So I don't have a challenge I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
Yeah.
E-commerce is a very trust-based kind of business. And when someone orders something online, they expect that what they get is what they ordered.
Absolutely.
But we have seen very many instances where people, you know, order one thing and get a totally different thing, you know.
Yes.
How do you make sure that, as they say, you get what you order? How do you make sure of that?
These are the things when I was actually, before I started it. These are the core things which kind of why I picked on this thing. Basically, I had the same challenges, and I get to see, even myself when I ordered, I had the same challenges. We don't want to say that everything is 100% perfect, but we are going towards that way, perfecting it as much as you can be. I, for one, I want to make sure that's to be the core thing of this business. Trust, at the same time delivery on what it is that is. Because these are the summer conditions which I'm going to be putting, and I've already put into the vendors who are providing these services to the community. By doing so now, I'm trying to bridge that put it together, so at least the customer should be confidently understand that what they are buying for is what they're getting. Yes.
How about, of course, this is the logistics industry, things happen.
Absolutely.
How is the return policy when someone orders something, maybe they didn't get what they wanted? How is the return policy?
It is one of the conditions that at least there is about 14 days waiver that at least somebody can deliver back their product. And even though we're still negotiating with most of our vendors, for them at least to give us a bit of a leeway, so at least the customer can be considered and can be kind of considered better in a way that at least whenever they return back, they should not have that hassle to think about, am I getting back my stuff or not? In this way now, we're trying to put that surety to the people at the same time to our vendors and saying that, listen, if this product is faulty, you should be able to look after it as much as you can. Because after all, it's within the law.
Right.
Yeah.
I mentioned the logistics bit of the industry. It thrives on logistics.
Absolutely, yes.
Currently, there are very many supply chain issues across the world. I mean, the Red Sea and the shipping lines being diverted across the continent. Is this affecting business?
In everything that happens in this world nowadays, it's intertwined.
Yes.
So it's like it's facing each other. But again, we're human beings. We're here to solve problems, not to stick with the issues. Now, obviously, there's issues, yes. Obviously, there's kind of limitation to some things sometimes. But again, we don't want to sit down as business people saying that, oh, there's a problem there, we cannot solve issues. But again, as it is right now, we're there for the challenge. And as much as we want to kind of fulfill the promise of our customers, we will do whatever it takes.
You'll do whatever it takes.
That's right.
the warehousing bit of it, how do you handle it? Are you the ones who have the warehousing, or is it the suppliers who deliver these products? Are you just a conduit? How does it work?
Basically, it used to be before that you should have a big warehouse, and there's a lot of expenses to it. Now, with this digital marketing, it's way better than it is right now. Because as long as the customer orders for it, the vendor knows what's been ordered for it, what kind of brand, what kind of model, what it is. We do the delivery, the rest of it. So we actually right now negotiating with a big company now, giving us space to use as a warehouse. But for now, we do digitally that we don't need to keep it as it is, because the larger the items comes along, the more space we're going to be needed. But for now, we kind of transact and say, fine, this customer's ordered for this, would you be able to deliver as quick as you can? And we do the rest of it. Yeah.
Kenya is looking to move to more manufacturing, more consumption of locally made goods.
That's right.
Is that something that the e-commerce industry can help the country achieve? I mean, what is the place of the e-commerce industry in ensuring that we buy local?
I am actually looking forward to that. Why? Because at the end of the day, the manufacturer is manufacturing for the customer. And I'm trying to bring that side of the cake. At the end of the day, we work together. Because what it is, he's manufacturing for the purposes, for him to go and display to someone so that they can buy it. And I can do that for him as well. So in most cases, we're all winning together. We work together, we look forward together to the market. They give me the challenge, I work on my homework at the same time, see if at all I can look after my customers, see if at all I can get them a very good deal. Because if you manufacture locally, it should be cheaper, to my thinking. By doing so now, we'll be having more easy to sell it to the customers who are within their home area, vicinity. Because at the end of the day, e-commerce is there to kind of satisfy that person who is staying at home, who cannot manage to go to the market and do ABCD for them. So that's why we're filling the gap for them. So we're looking forward to that challenge, and hopefully very soon they're going to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
When you're onboarding the suppliers now to the platform, what do you look for, and how do you ensure that it is what your customers need?
Basically, in business, it starts with trust, first of all. Without trust, there's no business. Secondly, we will have to, actually, most of it, verify the product they're uploading before they kind of put it into the system. We have the right to do that. By doing so now, we will check on what exactly are they putting on, and by doing so now, we'll verify before we deliver to the customer. That's our work for us to do that, because we're bridging the gap between the customer and the supplier. By doing so now, we need to do our work diligently by getting to know what exactly are we providing to the customer that is asked for. So we will be looking to that security at the same time, make sure that the customer who is uploading this product, we get to see that these things are the right things that he's displaying, and they're the right things to be actually provided to the customer. Without that, I'm afraid we cannot work with such vendors. They have to be trustworthy. Secondly, they have to provide what they actually, we have to verify them of all the things that they're doing.
All right. Yeah. So there are instances where a supplier can be blacklisted?
Yeah. I'm afraid so. Yeah, it has to, because at the end of the day, no one is perfect. We'll try to give them a chance for them to rectify their mistakes. If they don't do so, I'm afraid I have to have a customer to look after, which I don't want to damage. And that's our reputation for all of us.
Right. Yeah. Trust at the end of the
Absolutely,
day is very
100%,
important.
100%.
How about now for the customer side? Can a customer be blacklisted?
It depends. It depends on the situation where they're going to be. Okay. If they don't want to pay for the product, how will I be able to come and work with them? As much as I look after the customer, I have two customers to look after, who is my vendor at the same time, my buyer. So in this situation now, I have to do whatever extra mile to take care of both of them, because they're all delicate to me and they're all important to me. By doing so now, if the person is not ready to pay the money, at the same time he's not there to be delivered. The address, say like he said, you have to deliver to this address, and he's not there. Who is he to blame? No one. So in this situation, we'll give them a chance for them to come and pick it up from where we normally secure some points, wherever it is. If he comes out there and delivers his ID to prove who he is, we are sorted. If it's not, I'm afraid we have to cancel the business.
The consumer. For the pricing bit, of course, there are very many platforms and they are giving all these discounts all over the place.
Right.
How do you make sure that you're meeting the pricing needs of your consumer and even being competitive in that sense?
That's why e-commerce is there.
Yes.
It picks and chooses whatever it is. At the same time, we kind of negotiate with our vendors. Our vendors are the key people. They're the ones actually telling us exactly, this is what I want. And maybe my competitors are kind of telling me they're selling that product in different price, which I'm getting different discount. So it depends. There's always in business, we cannot say everything is 100% perfect, but we work within what we have. So we're ready to take the challenge as it is. So we will look after our customers as much as we can, because we need them back, and we need them every time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right now, even before people go to stores to actually purchase things,
right.
they always go online, you know, to see
sure.
the price points,
Absolutely.
to compare products and all that. So it would make sense for a business to establish itself, you know,
right.
in the e-commerce platform,
That's
right? What do you tell these businesses, especially in terms of the market dynamics, the kind of consumer that you are serving and they also are serving, yeah? What do you tell them in terms of the mindset of the consumer?
You mean the
business,
the supplier?
Yes, the
Okay.
suppliers.
Now, in this situation now, the mindset mostly we tell to talk to them about is, you have this kind of consignment that you need to get rid of it. Now, the choice is yours. If you want to do this thing in the long term, you can keep it as much as you want. But if you want to get rid of it as soon as possible so you can have a new ones, give it a challenge at least with a good discount with it. And it goes around like that. Scratch my back, scratch yours. In business now, unless you give in, you cannot take whatever you want. Now, by doing so now, most of the time, I'm very happy that at least mostly understand. Now, by doing so now, we go to them and negotiate with them and say, listen, how many products or what kind of products do you want to get rid of this month or this week or this year? And sometimes we have to go into our pocket and go and buy some of them. So we all negotiate to what could go around of all of us. Yeah.
So that it's a win-win situation.
Obviously, 100%.
Right.
100%.
Right now, the high cost of living and people, you know, only focusing on essential goods.
That's right.
When you look at the selling of the products that are on your platform, what do you see moving faster and what is on a slowdown?
Obviously, as Kenyans, chakula.
Right.
Chakula goes fast because that's the priority right now. And we can't blame the common mwananchi, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. That's where we are. Because of the COVID-19, you know, and then all of a sudden this wars and all that, everybody's kind of stretched up. But again, that does not mean that sometimes some people can be flexible enough to come and buy a TV or fridge or whatever it is. You understand? So it depends. Most of the time is, I would say 65% chakula mostly. Yeah.
Chakula,
Yeah. Food mostly.
Right.
Yeah.
When people are using the e-commerce platform, sometimes it is said to worsen, what is it called? Impulse buying, you know? You go there, you see something, buy.
That's right.
Are there any, of course that is good news for you as an e-commerce platform, but from a consumer perspective, we need to have prudent use of money. How would you advise people in terms of using the e-commerce platform for needs, not wants?
One thing, buy what you want, that's all. Why? Because whenever you're going into these platforms, it's not necessary sometimes you buy what you want, but sometimes you buy out of necessity by thinking that, oh, I've got small money today, or I'm expecting some small here and there. Can I buy this for tomorrow? Because of the convenience. At the end of the day, when people are browsing it, there's two things. Some of them just browse it to have some idea of the product they want to buy and the price of it, so that tomorrow, when they're planning to buy, they know what they're buying. Some of them, maybe they've been waiting for money for a bit time, and then it just came. So they want to spend it for something that they were thinking of. That's why some of them just pick A, B, C, D. So the advice I would say is mostly is buy what you think that right now is necessary to you. The rest of it, keep it on the line so at least you know that you can plan for it ahead. Because at the end of the day, it's within your vicinity. You can buy whenever you want, anytime you want. And that's why the convenience of e-commerce it is. Yeah.
There's a tip that a friend shared with me. She said that she puts things on the wish list, and then if maybe a day later or two, she comes and looks at it and she's like, oh no, I don't want this. She gets rid of them, you know, so that you don't have to buy everything you feel like you want every time.
Yes.
Well, this is a very interesting conversation, Abdi, we are having here. This is Abdisalani Ahmed Mohammed. He is the CEO in charge of Cinab, which means grapes. It is an e-commerce platform, 2 years currently in the market and looking to expand within the country. Kenyan grown and Kenyan made. This is BizCheck. We want to take a quick break. When we come back, this conversation continues. Do stay with us. That is Take One by One, Alan Aoko. It comes to you every Thursday at 9 p.m. Be sure to catch more on the Tech Bits. Now, this is BizCheck. We want to continue with our conversation here on matters e-commerce in Kenya with Abdisalan Ahmed Mohamed, who is the CEO in charge of cinlab, which is an e-commerce platform. Now, Abdi, thank you very much for staying with us and having this conversation.
Pleasure.
The e-commerce industry in Kenya is yet to be fully, we are yet to fully exploit it,
That's
around 3%.
That's right.
That means the cake is still massive, yeah?
Absolutely.
So for local innovators such as yourself and people who maybe are looking to enter into this market, what would you say is the starting point?
Having an intention, first of all.
Okay.
And to be ready to take the challenge. After all, everything that we start or everything that we do, it has to start from somewhere. And somebody has to believe in what he's doing. I, for one, I love what I'm doing. And I'm expecting that hopefully whoever is interested to do so must be having the same motivation. At the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of challenges. There will be up and downs. There will be a lot of hits. By doing so now, that should make you at least a unique person who's kind of ready to take the challenge as it is. Mm-hmm. So I would say because of that actually availability space for anybody who wants to do the challenge should be at least pull up his socks and come into the running field. Mm-hmm. And as it is right now, there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to do.
There's a lot to do.
Yeah.
Of course, the government has been focusing more on the digital platforms, ensuring that there is connectivity across the country. The Wi-Fi hotspots by the Ministry of, Owalo's ministry, the Information Communication and Digital Economy Ministry. The efforts being made by the government currently supporting the digital economy, are they sufficient? Would you advocate for more?
I'm afraid yes. Mm-hmm. I'm afraid yes. Mm-hmm. You know, right now, the government is only doing the starting bit of what it is. Okay. But there's a lot to do. And as mostly I can see on the TV and on the news most of the time, they're doing a lot of whatever it takes, awareness and people to embrace it and people to take the digital world. Yes, the connectivity is one among the reasons most of the time. Most of the customers are not kind of a bit hesitant of saying that I cannot get this thing where I am right now, or how am I going to get these things? They feel a bit insecure of how are they going to do these things, because right now, beside delivery bit of it, we want to see if at all, and we will be doing actually investing into that by kind of harmoniously actually showing the people that where their product is and track it as it is, be either from Nairobi to Eldoret, be either from Nairobi to Lokchogi or to Mombasa, so the customer can see exactly where the product is. By doing so now, we need to have a network, and the network has to be provided by someone. For the companies right now who are providing, they can only go with the limit. And hopefully, as time goes on, and the government actually is putting more effort to it, we will get that to where it is. With the Western world. Because right now, there's only 3% out of the country. Room for forward to that. We will look more, can be more people can even have how to go about it. Mm-hmm. Yes.
When you talk about connecting the rural Kenya, I mean sometimes when you're in the urban setting, it can blur the picture of the reality. You know,
yes.
There's good connectivity here. Internet is no problem in Nairobi and the big cities. Yeah. But there are areas where people still struggle to even make a phone call, you know?
Absolutely, yes.
So when we are thinking of now connecting the rural areas, how much would that mean for the e-commerce industry?
Actually, besides even e-commerce, even the communication bit of it, it means a lot. Mm-hmm. It means a lot. Because, as you remember before, we used to have a small phones, but now everybody now is going to these touchscreen phones. And everybody wants to know what's going on in the world, beside Kenya. Mm-hmm. And now this information, it simplifies so many things. Leave alone e-commerce, but even having to have information out there, it's very important to the local mwananchi out there. So for the government now to do more extra work, to kind of pull up their socks, especially on fiber optic stuff, it will help a lot, and it will go a long mileage. Why? We need to, because Kenya is not Nairobi. It's not Mombasa. It's not Eldoret. It's not Kisumu. It's not Ivo. There's a lot of people out there with a larger number who wants to have more information, and they want to know what's going on in the country and in the whole world. Now, by doing so now, to have more connectivity, it helps a lot. So
Right.
I would appreciate if the government could do extra mile. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
very important. Of
It
course, there are there's something that is being done on that
Absolutely,
front.
yes. Absolutely.
So we hope it can be ramped up.
Absolutely.
The address system in this country is
Another challenge.
it's a big problem.
It is,
Yeah,
it is,
when
it
you
is.
want to have something delivered somewhere, you have to keep making phone calls. You
Absolutely.
know, especially to the border guys,
Absolutely.
and it's a mess.
It
Of
is.
course, the country, the government is trying to sort that out.
Yeah.
What is your experience in the e-commerce industry?
Challenge. Challenge.
Mhm.
Why? Because, you know, in the Western world, it's easy.
Yeah.
If somebody's buying it, he knows where he's buying from and he knows where he's delivering to. But over here, you have to kind of every time cross-check. Is the customer asking for the right place to be delivered to? Sometimes they'll be asking for, can you deliver to this corner shop of mine? I can go and pick it up later on. Some of them will tell you, fine, can I come over to pick it up from you? Why? Because of the security bit of it. At the end of the day, we need that addresses to be sorted as quick as possible. It will be very helpful in the long term. It will be helpful even to have an information regarding the customers themselves. So as it is right now, there's a challenge to it, but we have to work and learn and live with it.
Right.
So that at least we can embrace it later on tomorrow. If things changes, it changes for the better. Yeah.
Very important pointers there. We want to now take the viewer to a press briefing by the CS in charge of environment, climate change and forestry, that is a commerce platform called cinlab. Now, Abdi, before we took that particular link, we were talking about the challenges of the address system in the country and how that is impacting the e-commerce sector. What exactly will it take for Kenya to achieve a functioning address system?
I think it has to start first of all with educating people how useful it is and how useful it is in terms of communicating. Because before, when we were young, we used to have a PO box and you have to go to the post office to go and collect your letters. But this address now, it'll help the postman to easily come and deliver to the house, where if it's an important information regarding hospital appointments or any transaction that you're doing with any human being, because they want to know where you live, it'll be easier. So we need to have at least, first of all, a public education of how useful it is and how helpful it's going to be in the long term. But for now, because we used to the PO box and we still stuck to that, I think the government should do a bit of education-wise, kind of embracing that if we go to home addresses, postal address will be more useful to the community and to everyone as it is so far. But because then the other side of it, we used to live in rural areas most of the time, and now we moved to cities. And the people in the rural areas don't even have a post office, don't even have an address. So now in this situation now, the address could be more helpful and more handy enough for people to understand where things are going about and how to be reached into. Because at the end of the day, reaching to each other is very useful and it's very educational. So I would say the government should take the first initiative of educating on embracing to having that.
Right, and of course this would be very important for the government in terms of even service delivery to the people,
Absolutely,
right?
yes. Absolutely, absolutely, yes. It will make a lot of help. It will help a lot. It will help a lot, yes.
Right. So as we come to a close of the conversation, Abdi, I'm curious to know from your perspective, what is the future of e-commerce in this country?
Honestly, the sky is the limit. Because, as you say, there's only 3% as it is right now. And there's a lot to learn from it. We're learning more. We're seeing more. Now, having to say that because of the kind of the curious thing which is there right now, it's an AI. AI is kind of changing the game. So the game is changing towards, actually, towards the better help of the customer and everyone's information. So by doing so now, I think there's a lot to learn. And only a stupid person will say, I don't know what's going to happen. But there's a lot to learn.
Right.
There's a lot to learn.
Right.
And we're looking forward to it as it is.
Right.
Yeah.
The future is bright.
Absolutely, the future is bright for all of us. For all of us.
Thank you very much, Abdi, for sharing your thoughts with us and your journey, and all the best with cinlab.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for hosting me this morning. And actually, all I can say is I'm very grateful for what you did.
Awesome.
And hopefully, our customers get to know that at least we're doing business so far.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That is
Appreciate
Abdi Salan Ahmed Mohammed, the CEO in charge of cinlab, talking about matters e-commerce, the challenges that they have faced within the 2 years that they have been in business, and that the future is indeed bright. The cake is massive. It is yet to be eaten even halfway, just 3%. So the e-commerce industry in Kenya is growing, and let's see how cinlab goes. Well, that is the first interview this morning on BizCheck. When we come back, we'll be talking about matters financial and investment planning. What do you need to know before you invest? How do you even save for investment? All that is coming up after this short break. Do stay with KBC Channel 1.